This video is about the alpha loved her kindness, but his enemies used her. If this story captivates you, please like the video, share it with loved ones, and write in the comments how it touched your heart. The moon hung high above the thicket, casting a silver glow over the heart of the eldergrove forest. Here, the air was thick with the scent of pine and damp earth, and the sounds of the night echoed with the howls of wolves. Among them was Alpha Zephyr, a towering figure with fur like midnight and eyes like molten gold. He paced the perimeter of his territory, a constant guardian, the weight of leadership heavy upon his shoulders. But tonight, his thoughts drifted far from the pack's borders. They wandered to her Alara, the gentle spirit who lived on the forest's edge in a quaint cottage. Her kindness was a balm to the savage world of werewolves. With every encounter, she mended the jagged edges of his soul. Delpha? A voice broke through his reverie. It was Jax, his loyal beta, shifting nervously as he approached. The pack is restless. They sense danger lurking beyond our territory. Zephyr sighed, his brows knitting in concern. I know, the rival pack, the Vargan, is making threatening moves. They could invade at any time. Perhaps we should fortify our borders. We can't risk any more strays, Jax suggested, his voice low. Especially not with Alara so close. At the mention of her name, Zephyr's heart tightened. Alara was an Omega, the most delicate and vulnerable of their kind, but her spirit was fierce. She deserves to be free, Jax. I won't cage her, he replied, his voice laced with determination. But this is different, the Varganen. I will not use her as bait, Zephyr snapped, the growl rumbling deep in his chest. He took a moment, letting the tension subside. We'll keep our distance. Jax nodded, though uncertainty lingered in his eyes. But just know that the pack relies on you, Alpha. We need strength, not just kindness. As Jax departed, Zephyr turned his gaze toward the cottage nestled between the trees, its warm lights flickering like fireflies. Alara was everything he had come to adore, her laughter, the way she spoke to the forest as if it were a friend, her healing touch that eased the pain of even the fiercest warrior. But she was also a target. Asterisk. The next evening, a chilling wind swept through the grove as Zephyr and his pack gathered for council. The air was thick with worry, the members shifting restlessly. We need a plan, Zephyr urged, his voice steady against the murmurs. Let us send the message to Alara. She can help us, one of the warriors spoke. Zephyr shook his head. No, she has not a weapon. We want to involve her in this. The pack shifted uneasily. She has gifts, Alpha, gifts that could turn the tide. Gifts that could also put her in danger, Zephyr countered fiercely. She is not part of our battles. But even as he spoke, Zephyr felt the gnawing fear in his gut. If the Vargan discovered her connection to him, she would become their pawn. And that thought alone was unbearable. Later that night, he found himself at her doorstep, his heart pounding like a war drum. The moment she opened the door, her smile melted the shadows of his worries. Zephyr, I wasn't expecting you. Is that so? He stepped inside, the warmth of her home wrapping around him like a comforting embrace. I wanted to see you. Alara poured tea from a steaming kettle, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. You've been distant lately. Is everything alright with the pack? It is complicated, he admitted, a heavy sigh escaping his lips. But I need you to be careful. There are threats in the woods. Threats? Her voice dropped to a whisper, the playful glimmer in her eyes dimming. What do you mean? I can explain right now, he replied, his chest tightening. Just stay inside at night. Zephyr, she said, her hand brushing against his. You can keep me in a cage. I want to help. Not like this, he growled, stepping back as a wolf within him stirred. You don't understand what they would do if they found you. I can lose you. Her breath caught in her throat, and inches of space stretched between them like a chasm. You think I am weak? Beth? His voice trembled with urgency, the frustration boiling over. You are everything good in this world, but it is dangerous, Alara. It is too dangerous. She crossed her arms, a flicker of defiance igniting in her gaze. I can heal, Zephyr. I can bring peace. Why can't you see that? Because the world is not a kind place, he snapped, his heart aching at the pain in her eyes. I can let my enemies use your kindness against us. They'll exploit you. Silence hung between them, thick and heavy. Alara took a step closer, piercing his soul with her gaze. So you'd rather push me away than let me fight by your side? I'd rather keep you safe, he roared, the frustration spilling over. This isn't just about us, this is about the pack, our survival. And what about my heart, Zephyr? She challenged, eyes glistening like the stars above. Do you think it doesn't matter? For a moment, he faltered, the fierce love he felt for her colliding with the instinct to protect. You matter more than anything, but you are not a warrior. Maybe I could be, she whispered, the vulnerability hanging in the air. Maybe it is time for you to trust me. But the tension was too great, and with a heavy heart, he turned away. I need to protect you, that is all I know. She was silent, and the distance between them felt insurmountable. Why do you always think you can do this alone? She finally asked, her voice breaking. Because I am your alpha, he replied, the weight of his title pressing down like a vice. And I can't afford to be selfish. Then let me be your equal, she whispered, reaching for him. But he stepped back, the instinct to keep her safe, feeling his rejection. He left her cottage that night, the air thick with unspoken words and suffocating tension. Alara watched him go, her heart shattered. She had wanted to mend the rift, to show him the power of their bond, but he had chosen the path of isolation. Asterisk. Days turned into weeks, and the threat of the bargain loomed closer. Zephyr's heart wore thin from constant worry. Every night he patrolled the borders, every howl a reminder of what was at stake. One fateful night, as he stood watching the moonrise, he caught a familiar scent on the wind. It was Alara, close, too close. Panic gripped him, and he raced toward her, but the shadows shifted with treachery. There, in the clearing, stood not just Alara, but members of the Vargan pack, their eyes gleaming with malice. We've got what we need, their alpha growled, a cruel smile stretching across his face. Oh. Zephyr's voice was a roebuck filled with desperation. Get away from them. But it was too late. They had her. And the moment her eyes met his, he saw the realization dawn upon her. The danger he had tried to shield her from had found its way to her doorstep. Zephyr, help, she cried, but the words were swallowed by the darkness, and the world tilted on its axis. The blood in his veins thundered as Zephyr felt a fury unlike anything before. The pull of their bond surged, igniting the wolf within him. He would not lose her. Not to them, and not to his own fears. With a fierce howl that echoed through the night, he launched himself forward, ready to fight for the only thing that mattered in the world. And as the moon shone down upon the forest, he realized this was only the beginning of a battle far greater than they had ever anticipated. Moonlight danced across the clearing as Zephyr tore through the underbrush, fueled by desperation and rage. The Vargan pack loomed before him, their cruel laughter ringing like a death knell in his ears. Alara stood in the center, a fragile figure caught between his world and the darkness that sought to swallow her whole. Let her go. Zephyr bellowed, his voice raw and primal. Forest seemed to tremble at the ferocity within him, the ancient magic of their land thrumming in response to his call. He could feel the bond with Alara pulsing like a heartbeat, urging him to reach her. The Vargan Alpha, a hulking beast with fur as dark as storm clouds, stepped forward, a wicked grin carving his features. Ah, the noble Alpha, so predictable. You should have kept her hidden. Now she is ours, and your kindness will be your undoing. Your cruelty will be your downfall, Zephyr growled, baring his teeth. The pack, sensing his fury, began to circle him like vultures. Each step into the clearing felt like a step toward destiny, the fate he had long tried to protect Alara from. Do you really think you can win against us? The Vargan Alpha taunted, his voice dripping with disdain. We will use her to draw you out. You LL give us your territory, or we LL break her. Touch her, and I'll make sure you wish you hadn't. Zephyr counted, every muscle in his body tense for a fight. He caught Alara's gaze, her eyes wide and shimmering with fear, and his heart shattered anew. Alara, hold on, he shouted, his voice filled with urgency. Zephyr, please, she cried, her voice trembling. I am not afraid, I can help you. Don't you fight alone. But the moment they met eyes, she saw the truth that he feared for her life more than anything else. It is too dangerous, he roared, his heart aching at the stubbornness of the woman he loved. I can't risk losing you. The Alpha-S laughter rang out, a mocking sound that cut through the tension. You were already losing her. Look around you, Zephyr. You were outnumbered. In that moment, the world narrowed to Alara's frantic expression, and Zephyr made his choice. He took a deep breath, the air thick with the scent of impending violence. Then let us finish this, he snarled, charging into the fray with a roar that echoed through the trees. The battle erupted, chaos raining as fur and muscle collided. Zephyr fought with a ferocity he had never known, fueled by the fear of losing Alara and the need to protect his pack. Each blow he landed sent shockwaves through him, but every time he glanced toward her, the dread spurred him on. He caught sight of a Vargan warrior approaching Alara, and in an instant he was there, teeth bared, fangs glistening in the moonlight. As he tackled the assailant, he felt the sharp jolt of impact resonate through his body, yet all he could think of was her safety. He'd rather face an army than let her be harmed. Stay back, he shouted to her, his voice carrying over the clash of bodies. You have to run. I won't leave you, she cried, her eyes fierce with determination. Together, Zephyr. The bond between them flared like a wildfire, igniting the very air around them. As if responding to their connection, the forest seemed to come alive, the trees whispering ancient secrets, the earth vibrating with the power of their love. Zephyr felt the magic coursing through him, a surge of strength that merged with his wolf spirit. But just as victory felt within reach, betrayal struck like a dagger. Jax, his trusted beta, was fighting fiercely by his side when a figure emerged from the shadows, a Vagan spy lurking within their ranks. Caught off guard, Jax turned his back for a moment, and in that instant, the enemy struck, sending him crashing to the ground. Ajaxeth! Zephyr yelled, panic clawing at his throat. He darted toward his friend, but the tide of the battle shifted violently. The Vagan Alpha let out a roar of triumph, sensing the moment of chaos to seize victory. Let us see how strong you really are, Alpha, he taunted. Your precious Omega will pay the price for your failure. No! Alara shouted, her voice cutting through the din. The moment she stepped forward, the Vagan Alpha's gaze turned predatory. You will not touch her. Zephyr's voice was filled with both fury and desperation as he lunged toward her. But it was too late. The Vagan Alpha lunged, and in a heartbeat, his claws raked against Alara's arm. She gasped, pain flaring as she stumbled back, clutching the wound. That moment felt like an eternity, time stretching as Zephyr's heart shattered. Alara, he cried, his voice raw with anguish. The world around him faded into a haze of primal instinct and fury. At that moment, nothing mattered but her. The fight, the pack, the territory, all insignificant compared to her. No? She staggered, eyes wide with shock, then met his gaze. Zephyr, I am fine, just a scratch. Not fine, you hurt. His voice trembled, and he felt the wolf within him surge, begging to protect, to destroy. He moved toward her, but the Vagan Alpha stood between them like a wall of malice. Do you feel that? The Alpha jeered, gesturing toward the chaos. Your beloved Omega is weak. She cannot hold her own. It's time you learn that kindness has no place in this world. In that moment of vulnerability, Alara's gaze softened, and she stepped toward Zephyr, determination etched across her features. I can fight, Zephyr. I am not weak. I am here for you, with you. Stay back, he snarled, feeling the desperation clawing at him. You are not their pawn, you are more than a weapon to be wielded. But the betrayal cut deeper than mere words. As the battle raged, Zephyr was torn between his responsibility as Alpha and the love he felt for Alara. A love that had made him weak in the eyes of his enemies. No more, he roared, unleashing the full power of his wolf. The dark energy surged through him, overwhelming, fierce, and as it coursed, he felt the pack rally behind him. They fought together, a united front forged in loyalty and love. With newfound strength, he charged the Vagan Alpha. The air crackled as he collided with the enemy, a blur of fur, teeth, and rage. You will not take her from me, he growled, his voice echoing through the night, and with all the power of his love behind him, he forced the Alpha back. Fool, the Vagan Alpha spat, but Zephyr didn't hesitate. He launched himself forward, teeth sinking into the enemy's shoulder, a primal growl escaping him. He felt the magic of his pack around him, their spirits intertwining, amplifying his strength. With a final, desperate effort, he flung the Alpha aside, the battle shifting as his pack rallied behind him, pushing back the Vagan warriors. As Lara watched, her heart swelled with hope and admiration, even as pain lanced through her arm. Zephyr, she called, her voice ringing with strength. You are not alone, together. Her words ignited a fire within him, and in that moment, he understood. Their bond was their greatest weapon, and not just in battle, but in life. He could be both their Alpha and her partner. The Vagan pack faltered, their confidence shaken. The tide had turned, and together, Zephyr and Alara formed a wall of strength, fighting side by side as the moon bore witness to their love and determination. With one final howl, Zephyr led the charge. The Vagan warriors retreated, fear etched on their faces. But as they fled, Zephyr felt something shift within him, a realization dawning with each breath. I will never push you away again, he vowed to Alara, his voice fierce. You are my heart, and together, we can face any darkness. Alara nodded, her eyes shining with gratitude and love, even as she winced from the pain. And you will never be alone, Zephyr. This bond is stronger than they know. As the dust settled, and the echoes of battle faded into the night, they stood together, united against the shadows, knowing that their love, forged in fire, would be the light that guided them through any storm. Forrest breathed a sigh of relief as the last remnants of the Vagan pack retreated into the dark. Moonlight spilled across the battlefield, illuminating the bruised and battered figures of Zephyr and Alara as they stood side by side, their hearts beating as one. But even in victory, shadows lingered. The chill of the night settled over them like a heavy cloak, and Zephyr's gaze fell upon Alara's injured arm. The wound was shallow, but it marred her skin, a stark reminder of the danger they faced. His heart twisted as he stepped closer, reaching out to examine the gash, his fingers trembling. "Alara," he whispered, his voice thick with worry. "I should have never let you come here. I should have kept you safe." She shook her head, determination shining in her eyes despite the pain. "I chose to be here, Zephyr. You were fighting for our home. I had to fight for you, for us." The warmth of her words wrapped around him like a soothing balm, but the weight of guilt pressed heavily on his chest. "You could have been killed. I can bear the thought of losing you," he replied, his voice breaking. She stepped closer, her presence grounding him in the chaos. "And I can bear the thought of being kept in the dark. You are my mate, my alpha, and I want to fight beside you. Please, trust me." He met her gaze, and in that moment the bond between them pulsed with a fierce energy, as if the forest itself recognized their connection. He could feel the ancient magic thrumming through the ground, whispering promises of destiny and love. "I do trust you," he confessed, voice barely above a whisper. "But the world is dangerous, and I don't want to see you hurt." "Then let me prove myself," she urged, her eyes shining with the kind of courage that made his heart swell. "Teach me how to fight. Show me how to be stronger, not just for myself, but for you and the pack." For a moment, he hesitated, torn between his instincts to shelter her and the truth in her words. They were bound by fate, and if they were to face the darkness together, he needed to allow her to become a part of his world, not just a distant light. "Okay," he said finally, a resolve settling in his chest. "We'll train, but you must promise to listen, to never put yourself in harm's way unless I say so." "A deal," she replied, a smile breaking through the tension, lighting up her face. But the smile faltered as the reality of their situation loomed over them. "What now?" she asked, her tone suddenly serious. "What if they come back? What if they try to use me again?" Zephyr's jaw tightened. "We'll strengthen the pack, fortify our borders, and I will ensure they never get close to you again. You deserve safety, Alara." Before more could be said, Jax appeared, limping slightly, but alive, relief flooding his features when he saw the two of them standing together. "Alpha, Alara, we all okay?" "All but the Vogons," Zephyr replied, anger simmering below the surface. "They won't dare return after tonight." Jax's eyes flaked to Alara's arm, and his expression shifted to concern. "What happened?" "It's just a scratch," Alara assured him, brushing it off with a wave of her hand. "I am fine. I am alive." Jax nodded, relief washing over him. "We fought like wolves tonight. The pack is proud, Alpha, but we need to talk strategy. The Vargan Alpha want to let this go. He'll be back for revenge." Zephyr's face hardened. "Then we'll be ready. We need to gather the warriors, train harder, and Alara." He turned to her, his voice lowering. "You'll train with us. You'll learn." "Count me in," she said, determination igniting behind her eyes. As they began to discuss tactics under the moonlight, Zephyr couldn't shake the feeling that the battle was far from over. The intensity of their earlier conflict had unearthed something deeper, a rawness in his heart that had long been buried beneath the weight of leadership. Days turned into weeks, and the Elder Grove pack forged itself anew. Each day, they trained tirelessly, honing their strength, their skills, and their bond. Zephyr found himself drawn to Alara's spirit, her unwavering resolve fueling his own. In the training sessions, she struggled at times, but every setback only deepened her determination. "I want to be anything less than a warrior," she'd insist, fire flashing in her gaze, and each time, Zephyr felt the surge of pride. "You're more than that," he'd remind her, unable to keep the admiration from his voice. "You're the heart of this pack." With each passing day, their connection grew, the bond of matehood blending seamlessly with partnership. But deep within Zephyr lurked a gnawing fear, the knowledge that love could also be a vulnerability. One late afternoon, after a rigorous training session, Zephyr found himself by the river where they had often shared laughter and whispered dreams. The sun hung low, casting a warm glow across the water, and he couldn't help but feel the weight of the world pressing down on him as he turned to Alara. "Are you sure you want this training, fighting alongside us?" he asked, concern etched across his face. Alara looked at him, her expression unwavering. "I've never wanted anything more. This is where I belong, Zephyr." "But your life could be at stake," he urged, his heart racing. "I can bear to see you hurt again." She stepped closer, her eyes fierce and unwavering. "You're not the only one who has a choice in this, Zephyr. I need to fight for what I love, to protect my home, our pack, you." The words struck him like arrows, pacing through the barriers he'd built around his heart. "I don't want you to be a target," he admitted, voice trembling. "And I don't want to be left behind," she countered softly, reaching for his hand. "You've taught me that love is strength, not weakness. I want to stand at your side." The gravity of her words sank deep, resonating with an ancient truth. But just as he opened his mouth to respond, a rustle in the underbrush caught his attention. Instinctively, he stepped in front of Alara, eyes narrowing as he scanned the surrounding trees. Out of the shadows, a figure emerged, a familiar form. Jack stumbled forward, a look of desperation etched across his face. "Alpha Alara, you need to come quickly." "What is wrong?" Zephyr's heart raced with unease. "It is the Vargad. They've brought reinforcements." Jax's voice trembled with urgency. Zephyr's instincts kicked in, adrenaline coursing through him. "Gather the pack, we need to prepare." Alara's expression turned resolute. "I am coming with you." "No, Alara," he said firmly, shaking his head. "You need to stay back. It is too dangerous." "Not again," she replied fiercely, her voice unwavering. "I am not going to hide while you fight. I am part of this pack, and I am part of your fight." Frustration erupted within him, and he stepped closer, their faces inches apart. "I will not lose you again." "You want to lose me because I am not going anywhere," she insisted, eyes blazing with conviction. "I am here to stand by your side, no matter the risk." The air crackled with tension as they stood toe to toe, both unwilling to back down. "You deserve safety, not danger," he growled, his wolf urging him to protect her at all costs. "And I deserve to choose my fate," she shot back, her fierce spirit igniting the flame of his own. In that moment, Zephyr felt the walls he had built begin to crumble. He took a deep breath, a mixture of frustration and admiration swelling within him. "Fine," he said reluctantly, "but you must promise to stay close and never stray from my side." "Promise," she replied, a fierce grin breaking through the tension, and in that moment he felt their bond solidify even more. As they raced back to the pack, a storm brewed on the horizon, a foreboding sign of the battle that was to come. Zephyr's heart pounded with a mixture of dread and determination. He would protect his pack, protect Alara, no matter the cost. The clearing they arrived that was already buzzing with activity. Wolves moved swiftly, gathering and preparing, the air thick with tension. Zephyr stood before his warriors, Alara at his side, heart racing as he spoke with authority that came from deep within him. "Tonight, we stand united against those who threaten our home. We will not let them take what is ours." The howls of his pack echoed through the trees, a call to arms, a pledge of loyalty and love. Then, the winds howled through Eldergrove Forest, a haunting symphony that echoed the turmoil in Zephyr's heart. Beneath the silver glow of the moon, he stood at the forefront of his pack, adrenaline surging through him like wildfire. The Vargan were close, and anticipation crackled in the air. He could feel Alara at his side, her presence grounding him, yet the weight of fear gnawed at his resolve. "Stay close," he instructed, his voice sharp as he scanned the tree line. "We can't afford to lose anyone, especially you." "I am not a child, Zephyr," Alara countered, her voice filled with a fierce determination that made his heart swell and ache all at once. "I've trained for this. I want to fight for our home. Your spirit is strong, but I can't let my enemies turn you into a pawn again," he said, shaking his head, frustration simmering just beneath the surface. "I want to be anyone's pawn," she shot back, her eyes flashing with defiance. "I choose my own fate, and right now, that fate is standing beside you." The intensity of her words ignited an emotion within him, and pride mixed with a fierce protectiveness. "Then promise me you will heed my commands, stay by my side, no matter what happens," he replied, a growl lacing his voice at the thought of losing her again. "I promise," Alara said, her gaze steady, and in that moment the connection between them pulsed with an energy that felt almost magical. He could feel their bond reaffirming, strengthening in the face of adversity. Just then, a rustle in the underbrush broke their moment. Jax emerged, panting heavily, his eyes wide with urgency. "Alpha, they're regathering beyond the ridge. We have to move now." Zephyr nodded, turning to the pack. "Prepare yourselves. It is time to show the Vargan that we are not to be trifled with." As they advanced, dread pulled in Zephyr's stomach. The Vargan's return felt like an omen, a reminder of the darkness that lurked just beyond the borders of his territory. With every step, he felt the weight of responsibility pushing down on him, urging him to protect those he loved. The pack moved as one, a tightly knit formation, breaths synchronized, hearts beating like war drums. Zephyr could feel the pulse of each wolf within the ranks, the determination intertwining in a tapestry of loyalty. But beneath it all, his gaze was locked on Alara, a warrior spirit trapped within a fragile body. As they reached the ridge, the air thickened with tension. There, they saw them the Vagan, a dark mass emerging from the shadows, their eyes gleaming with malice. At their forefront stood the Vagan Alpha, a massive beast with scars crisscrossing his face, emanating a primal energy that sent a shiver down Zephyr's spine. "Ah, the mighty Zephyr," the Vagan Alpha taunted, a cruel smile twisting his lips. "I see you've brought your little Omega to fight alongside you. How quaint." "Keep her name out of your mouth," Zephyr growled, his muscles tightening, the wolf within him clawing for release. "This is not a game, and you are not welcome here." "Game," the Vagan Alpha laughed, a low, menacing sound that reverberated through the air. "This is war, dear Alpha, and we plan to win." At that moment, Zephyr felt a surge of anger, the kind that ignited the very essence of his being. "We will protect what is ours," he declared, his voice strong and unwavering. "We will not back down." The Vagan pack shifted, their eyes glinting with hunger, and with a roar, they charged. Chaos erupted as the two packs collided, a symphony of snarls and growls filling the air. Zephyr fought valiantly, the power of his wolf surging through him, but his heart raced with panic every time his gaze flickered to Alara. He couldn't shake the fear that clawed at him, the fear of losing her again. "Stay close," he shouted, his voice rising above the cacophony. He could see Jax fighting valiantly, but the Vagan outnumbered them. Alara was in the thick of it, her form weaving through the chaos. With every strike, every effort, she fought with a ferocity that left him breathless. But as he battled through the tide of enemies, he could feel the pressure mounting. He caught a glimpse of Alara dodging a Vagan warrior, her movements fluid and graceful. "Alara, behind you," he yelled, desperation igniting within him. But before they could react, a Vagan lunged, claws extended. Zephyr felt his heart stop as Alara barely managed to evade the attack, spinning gracefully. "I am fine," she called, but Zephyr could see the fear in her eyes. "Get to safety," he commanded, fighting his way towards her. "I'll handle this." "No," she shouted, and her voice pierced through the chaos, filled with determination. "I can fight, you taught me." Every instinct he had screamed at him to protect her, to shield her from harm, but as he turned back to the fray, he realized that she was right. Their bond was their greatest strength, and she refused to be sidelined. Just then, chaos erupted as a figure broke through their ranks. A treacherous Vagan spy had infiltrated their pack. Jax was caught off guard, thrown to the ground, and in that moment, the tide shifted. The Vagan Alpha's eyes danced with victory as he saw his opportunity. "Now," he roared, directing his warriors towards Alara. "Seize her." "Alara." Zephyr cried out, desperation clawing at his throat as he fought through the whirl of bodies. He felt the bond between them tremble, a palpable pull that urged him toward her. In a flash, the Vagan warrior surged forward, but Alara stood her ground, determination etched on her features. "I want to let you take me," she shouted, and with a fierce growl, she lunged at the nearest Vagan, her movements a whirlwind of power. Zephyr's heart swelled with pride, but it was quickly dimmed by the fear of losing her. "Stay back," he bellowed, launching himself into the fray, teeth bared. But the world around him faded into a cacophony of screams, the battle raging with an intensity he had never known. He fought through the chaos, every movement fueled by the desperation to reach Alara. "Stay by me, Alara," he shouted, finally breaking through to her side, but the moment was fleeting. The Vagan Alpha watched with glee, sensing the chaos unfolding. "Look at you, Zephyr. Your little mate is losing control. Your kindness is making you weak." A roar erupted from Zephyr's throat, echoing through the trees. "I will not let you take her." With all his might, he lunged at the Vagan Alpha, teeth sinking into the flesh of his shoulder. Pain surged through him, but he didn't relent. The battle was fierce, primal, a clash of power and will. Zephyr felt every ounce of their connection igniting within him, the love he held for Alara giving him strength. "Together!" Alara's voice broke through, her spirit a beacon in the darkness. "We can do this!" As Zephyr wrestled with the Vagan Alpha, he felt her presence beside him, a force to be reckoned with. She lunged forward, using the skills she had honed, and together, they pushed the enemy back, a united front against the darkness. With one final surge of energy, Zephyr tackled the Vagan Alpha to the ground. "You will never take what is ours," he snarled, teeth bared, the moonlight illuminating the ferocity in his eyes. "No," the Alpha roared, desperation mixing with rage. "You'll pay for this, Alpha." But just as the momentum shifted, betrayal reared its ugly head. Jax, struggling back to his feet, was blindsided by another Vagan warrior. Zephyr felt his heart drop as his friend fell, the moment of vulnerability tearing through him like a blade. "Jax," He turned, fury igniting within him once more. Get up! But the chaos was relentless. The Vargan warriors, sensing the tide of their loss, surged forward with renewed vigor. Zephyr felt the pressure mounting, the realization dawning that they had to end this battle, once and for all. Ilara yelled, fear gripping him as he fought his way toward her. We need to retreat. But she stood firm, eyes blazing with passion. No, this is our home, Zephyr, we can't lose it. Then let us finish this, he bellowed, his heart racing as they charged together, side by side, a force of nature. As they collided with the enemy, the forest erupted with the power of their love. The magic of the Elder Grove surged,